On our last episode, we headed over to Sidney Spit on the Friday night after work. We made dinner and enjoyed a beautiful sunset. The next day, the kids discovered an interesting sand sculpture of a crocodile. We also tried our luck fishing for crab, and lucky for us, we were successful.
Well, lucky for us, it looks like we have been rewarded with crab. We caught quite a few, but only about 4 of them were beyond the minimum size. The rest of them were a little small, but 4 crab will be more than enough for this weekend. Should be pretty good. They're all cleaned up here. I have the stove going over here, so I'm going to boil some seawater and we're going to go ahead and cook them all up. The plan was to try and catch enough crab on the Saturday so we could go over to the folks' house on Sunday and we could have a crab dinner special just for Father's Day. Fortunately for us, it was a success. When cooking crab, I always like to use fresh seawater and boil them for about 10 to 12 minutes. After getting the crab cooked and put away, it was time to go for a walk in Sidney Island. Alright, we're on Sidney Island and we're going for a little walk. Well, this might be one of our last trips for the next little while. We got about 3 weeks before we go on our big trip up north, the Desolation Sound area, and we might get out maybe one more trip, but a bunch of maintenance items to look after on the boat, and just provisioning, prepping. So this area here behind me, back over here, this is the Haro Strait, and all this area here is actually Washington State, San Juan Island. Border is only about 3.5 to 4 miles out this way, and then you're in United States waters. So very close. Gotta make sure you don't leave your cell phone on roaming unless you want to end up picking up a US signal.
Sidney Island was originally named Salis Island. The Hudson Bay Company began to sell off land in 1859. In 1910, a local business group created a hunting preserve as well as farming and raising sheep. During World War I and II, there was some old-growth logging. In 1981, the north end of the island became the BC Provincial Marine Park, Sidney Spit. In 2003, the federal government took over this park and merged it into a group of other parks referred to as Gulf Islands National Park Reserve. The southern half of the island was sold to a group of real estate investors and became a combination of over 100 private strata-owned lots and common property, as well as protected areas. Although no public access is granted to the southern portion of the island, it looks to be well kept and maintained by those involved as its own off-grid community.
So right now there's we could hear a bunch of eagles, and there's a nest straight up here in this tree, and you could hear them making a whole bunch of noise up there. And you see them flying into the nest, and I think there's probably a bunch of eaglets or something in the nest, but I could hear a lot of noise from the eagles.
Okay, Hunter, we're almost at the safari. Well, it's not an actual safari, but...
Years ago when we first started boating, we got our first 14-foot inflatable there, and we used to do a lot of marine camping. This was one of the spots we'd come to quite often. Was out here on Sidney Island. Lots of great campsites. You can see there's a number of tents down over here and down over here, and a great spot to come marine camping. And even without a boat, from Port of Sidney, there's actually a foot ferry that you can get. You can come over with your camping stuff, and pretty close area to come to if you live in Victoria or something, and you just want to go somewhere camping for the weekend. All you have to do is basically get to Sidney, and you're here. And it's just basically walking, camping with tent and that sort of thing. So, but feels like a world away. Just coming down into the main area of the campsite now, and just come down this road, and then there's also a nice sort of picnic and camping area. It's right next to the beach. We call it the camping beach, right on the sort of edge of the lagoon. Very nice. And this is the area here around where the camp area is, right alongside the beach area. There's a nice little sandy beach over here. Go check out the pier. This is the sort of, we refer to it as the camping beach, and nice little stretch of beach along here, and a pretty good spot. It usually stays pretty calm in here compared to out where the boats are. Out there can kind of get a little breezy. So as you can see, great place for paddleboarding. This beach is filled with bricks, and as I understand it, they used to manufacture bricks here, and so somehow as a result of that, this beach is nothing but bricks.
From 1906 to 1915, a company manufacturing bricks took advantage of the clay resources on the island.
A bulldozer or some piece of heavy equipment that is flaking away and rusting away in the seawater. left just the tracks here.
If you spend much time on the island, you may get a glimpse of the European fallow deer that are much larger than the native deer in this area and are geographically isolated to Sidney Island. Fallow deer were introduced in the early 1900s on nearby James Island, and by the 1960s it was speculated they had begun swimming across Sidney Channel to Sidney Island. As a result, the island's ecosystem has been heavily impacted. Although there has been controlled hunting of fallow deer over the years, their numbers swelled to thousands in the 80s. Since then, it has been maintained in the hundreds. There are plans to remove the fallow deer from Sidney Island for good, which are now considered to be an invasive species. There are some other populations of fallow deer on Maine and Saturn Islands that experience large growth numbers.
If you like this video, please subscribe, give us a like, and feel free to share it. Thanks for watching.